Well, hello. Happy Sunday, my fellow explorers. Well, how is everyone? Welcome. Welcome to our Sunday brunch. Near, far, from the four corners of the earth, we come to you. I am your hostess with the mostest, the Oracle of Whimsy. An oracle that isn't real. None of this is real. It's just performance artist by an aging wannabe actor. That's how you kind of have to look at this channel. So I am your hostess with the mostest, the Oracle of Whimsy, first conceived in an ancient riverbed in a land far away from here. I am destined to wander the earth, bringing whimsy and merriment to all, and that includes you. Even if we don't agree politically. And I want to go on record saying that many of us do not agree politically, but that's okay. That is okay because we have a slogan here on the Oracle of Whimsy. And the slogan is be kind to all so that all can be kind to you too. And so, with that, I am broadcasting live from somewhere in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. I'm telling you, downtown Portland is coming back. Do not fear the changes. We're going to get back on our feet again. So, with love and blessings to you, today is a fundraiser. So, give it up to the Central World Kitchen. The World Central Kitchen, excuse me, the World Central Kitchen, which is currently actually in Florida as we speak, and several other locations where, I'll be honest with you, global warming is creating a lot of problems for people. I'm kind of glad I never bought a house. Gosh, you buy a house somewhere, you never know, is it going to be there tomorrow? Anyway, Fort Lauderdale's in some trouble, and so are a couple of other places. But the World Central Kitchen will always be there offering nutritious hot meals to anyone in need. 100% of the proceeds today are collected by YouTube, and 100%, YouTube does not take a fee, will go directly to the World Central Kitchen. And I see we've already gotten some donations for the World Central Kitchen. Thank you so much. Thank you to Cherish Cornell, who has donated $20 to the World Central Kitchen. And also, I believe we have an anonymous donation as well. Much gratitude. So, what am I doing? I'm glad you asked. I'm feeling pretty good. If you can open up a window right now, you can open the Huffington Post and look at the cover of the Huffington Post. Do it right now. The reckoning is upon us. Oh, yes. That is what the Huffington Post is calling it. A reckoning. A reckoning for who? There's a reckoning coming. Goes back to what we had talked about, right? We're entering into a time and a count and a reckoning. Did everybody see the press conference out of Maryland? 600 children molested. But now the Archdiocese is in trouble. So the feds, DOJ, had been conducting an investigation on the Maryland Archdiocese for several years. They had a press conference last week. They called it they did the accounting. They called it an account and a reckoning, right? So you're going to be hearing, because of the 100 monkey theory, right? What's the 100 monkey theory? It's just one brain, right? We all go down into these altered states and we communicate. That's the 100 monkey theory. And so if one of us has knowledge, we share it with the collective. This is how remote viewing works. If you're a heart-centered remote viewing, we go to the center, we go to the collective core, which is pure love, unconditional love. You can't get into the collective unless you come to it with unconditional love and acceptance. I can't tell you how many times I have had people unsubscribe thinking that I loved Putin, thinking that I loved Donald Trump, thinking that I loved somebody that they decided to hate. Because when I went down into the collective, which you have to do in a place of unconditional love, and came back and gave their side of the story, sounds like I'm defending them, but I'm just doing my job as a remote viewer, right? It's really up to you to decide whether or not what you're hearing is valid, if they're crazy, if this whole entire thing is just an empathy experiment, which is also a cool idea. The only problem with the theory that this might only be an empathy experiment is that we get too much data about the future and we break into too many documents on ongoing investigations. Like when we got in on Cohen and we knew that Cohen was going to flip, etc. So that when we do that, it goes outside the realm of imagination, I think. At that point, what do you think? We're dealing with something maybe a little different, huh? So I always say that 80 to 90% of what we do here is we let ourselves have imagination. We put ourselves in the shoes of another human being and we see what happens. We see how we feel as them. And sometimes it's our imagination. And periodically we enter into these altered states where it defies logic, right? The information defies logic. Okay, so I am having a cup of coffee and a glass of water. And I would love to talk to you all. How do you like this hat? I bought this hat in Acapulco. Yes. And I've got my shirt, which I bought at Target. Everyone welcome with the rainbow flag. So that's how we roll here. We welcome this brunch to the four corners of the earth. Please join us and let's have a conversation. So what are you drinking? What are you eating? Like I said, I'm having a cup of coffee. It looks like Kay is having huevos rancheros. And I know Kay loves her huevos rancheros. Excuse me. I also want to make a shout out gratitude to Debbie Brady, your dreams coach. Be sure and check out her work. Also, she's going to be developing merch for our channel. Yes, I've got to treat this like a real channel with real merch. And if you guys have any slogans or ideas for what you want to see on the merch, please give a shout out to Debbie Brady because she's developing it. I think we're going to do what did she say? We're going to use the motto for the channel. Truth can be found in the pretend, because this is a pretend channel, we tell people. It's whimsy. Question a lot of people ask me is, how'd you get the name Whimsy? My mother named me Whimsy. Yes. In this incarnation, the Oracle of Whimsy is named Whimsy. Yes. Cast out of the ancient land because I wouldn't follow the Dharma. You know, they took all the divas, all the greater and lesser divas, and they forced them to live under the Dharma. But I refused, and so I was kicked out of the old country and forced to wander the world where I make mischief and merriment. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's that. Here's my hat. What is that thing sticking out of my hat? How do you guys like my hat? My sombrero. Ooh, Super Queen Bee is making spaghetti. Anyone go to Mass? Did anybody have a nice Easter last week? Those of you who weren't able to attend our stream? Love spaghetti. It's probably my spaghetti and bolognese is probably my favorite food. Simple, cheap, and good. And you can do a good version vegan if you want to do vegan, but I just like pasta. Sweet potato casserole. Hi, Constance Pleasance. Sweet potato casserole. That sounds beautiful. That sounds like something you could serve on Passover, you know, like a knish or, Passover, you could do like a sweet potato casserole because it would be without chametz. It would be without gluten. Ooh, salty chip is having watermelon. Love me some watermelon. I look beautiful today. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. So I think there's enough people here. Do you guys want to talk about remote viewing? And do you have any questions for me about any of the remote views? You can go ahead and ask me some questions about anything now. If I didn't do a remote view on it, we can blitz later. Oh, yeah, I love a good Knish. Oh, the Hallelujah Choir in East Belmont, Massachusetts. I hear Easter is serious business in Boston. Is that true? It's like serious business, I guess, because they have a lot of Irish immigrants. But evidently, uh, evidently, Easter is serious business in Boston. Sounds like it would be a lot of fun, a lot of fun activities. Probably a lot of concerts too, I would think. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about different remote viewing techniques. And if you decided to become a subscriber of the channel at the empaths and healers levels, those are people that are learning to be professional empaths, or in some case, they just want to learn the technique of how to be empaths. So we get together on Wednesdays. We've also started a mystery school where I'm trying to get people also involved in herbalism and some of the different ways that we scour, like using cards, etc. But one of the techniques that we've been talking about is a technique where we scour the globe. All right. So this is a global scan. So here is a suggestion for those of you, particularly if you have an entertainment channel and you don't know what to talk about, and you think, God, I don't know where to go as a remote viewer. What do I do? You can do this technique as a remote viewer, which is a global scan, which is that we have you put yourself in an altered state, relax yourself into a deep meditative state, and then you want to imagine carrying yourself over the globe. Go over the globe. And then what you're looking for emotionally is, say you're looking for war or protest or tension or violence or anything like that. And then you try to locate the sense, the emotion on the globe. So somewhere on the globe is where you try to find that emotion. Anyway, I wound up south of Paris a couple nights ago. And what it looks like is that this took me to a series of multiple remotes. So a couple nights ago, I was scanning to try and see tension. And for whatever reason, I decided I'd start in Europe. And I wound up in France, where there's a lot of protests going on, of course, because they are trying to raise the age of retirement, etc. There's a lot of stuff going on. But what I wound up in is I wound up in an area that looks like it's South Paris. And there looks to be a ton of I'm seeing a lot of tension and what's going to eventually lead to protest, because what appears to be going on in Europe is a lot of discrimination against immigrants, and specifically immigrants from Africa. I don't know if anybody is aware of this, but a lot of the former colonies, French colonies in Africa, a lot of the students come to France to receive education. They're often given scholarships because they're good students, and so they're invited to come to Paris to receive their degrees, etc. Excuse me. And so what came up in the remote was that there wasn't enough places for immigrants to live in Paris. They couldn't financially afford housing. Nobody will rent to them. These are kids that are the best and the brightest in some case, kids that had scholarships to come, and they're treated like garbage. And so what's happened is there's going to be rising protest about discrimination against immigrants in France. It's going to escalate, unfortunately, and specifically because of the housing crisis. They don't have anywhere to live. Nobody will take them in. And so they've become, in a way, they're being treated like pariahs. So the problem was so severe when I went into the remote, I felt as the individual that we had no choice but to have massive protests because the world it's intolerable what's happening, the living crisis in France. And then as I meditated on the living crisis in France, I decided that I'd focus on Germany. And in Germany, it's the same problem. In Germany, there's a housing crisis. In France, there's a housing crisis. And then you go into other areas like Great Britain, the same thing. Housing crisis, not enough money for people to live. You do have council housing, etc., but it's just this massive protest, particularly coming from immigrants, that because of the way that they're being treated. And it looks like it's something that's going to escalate in the coming months, specifically out of France. And that was unfortunate. And I saw a recent interview between somebody who was in leadership in Liberia or somewhere, I can't remember where, and some German chancellor was saying he was concerned about China's investments in Africa. And the Liberian statesman said that Europe didn't care at all about Africa, and they had plenty of opportunities to help Africa. And instead, you left Africa, raped and impoverished without any infrastructure. But now you're worried about what the Chinese are going to do to the Africans. Meanwhile, our students are treated like rats and animals. They use the term rats. That's how they're treated when they do move to Europe. And so the point the man was making is that the treatment of Africans who move to Europe is so horrific. And so you don't care about the people of Africa, and you don't care about them working with the Chinese. Because if you did, you would have been the ones investing in Africa. So it was interesting to see that interview and to think about that interview. That's this individual's perspective. While I was having that remote and seeing just how impossible the conditions are for immigrants in those parts of the world. So be on the lookout for that, because look, the same thing's happening here in the United States. The insurance companies are out of control. People are bankrupted. Any penny you have, the money grubbers want to take, whether they're the lobbyist for the insurance companies. You've got to have insurance. I do? Why can't I just put 10% of my income in a savings account, in my savings account, and then just see the doctor once a year, pay the doctor directly cash, and get my medicine and do it that way? What do I need an insurance? Well, what if something theoretically will happen? Well, that's why I save 10% of my taxable income. So what's happened in the United States is that there's nothing left over for the rent. There's nothing left over to live. And so what I felt when I went into the energy is that this could become global, but it's absolutely impossible in France. And we could see this revolution starting there in that specific location that I was at. And it'll be interesting to see how it'll bubble out from there in the coming weeks and months. All right, let's get to some questions. Excuse me. People want to know about E. Jean Carroll. I think I got a hit on this that he was convicted. I can do a split. I can do a Blitz on it, but I'm pretty sure he is convicted based on the remotes. She persists, right? So this goes back to the remotes on the word victim, right? So the powers that be the press, the powers that be, the powers that are creating this disaster, they've taken away the word victim. Now you're not allowed to call yourself a victim. And if you call yourself a victim, then you're a terrible person. So that way they get to victimize you. You're stuck in a car without health insurance, but you can't call yourself a victim. That way, the crime is erased. So if you say, well, I am being victimized here, which is an objective fact, you're supposed to feel bad if you say that. So what happens is, by not saying it, by making you feel bad or guilty because of a system that they created that you can't live in. So we're going to start seeing some interesting things happening also with the term victim and how we've kind of lost the right to point out when victimization is taking place. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays itself out. But no, I think he's going to get convicted. The future finances for the US, this is something also we can throw on. I know that China wants to do business with other countries in order to weaken the US dollar because they've kind of accepted the fact that America's starting to divest from China. But to be honest with you, every time I go into the future, America's economic system becomes even more egalitarian. It becomes a better system. So I have a feeling things are actually going to get better. I always see the same thing, that Americans head towards the new green economy. Oh, the coronation is turning into a disaster. Evidently, the robe is too heavy for King Charles to walk in. He's stumbling under it during the rehearsals. They're building a special ramp for him. Yeah, they're like 40, 50 pounds. Some were like 70 pounds. Come on, you guys. You got to make lighter robes. Yes, Camilla, the queen consort, they're calling her. Yeah, we'll do some blitzes on that later. A living wage for all. Well, I think that we've just been gaslit to a point where, I mean, now we think so you watch the news, you watch TV, and everything is marketing. So if you're watching TV, you're being marketed to, and you're being told that in order to be normal, you have to do things a specific way. You've got to have insurance, even if it is $600 a month for a sole proprietor, and you're only making $50K a year. You've got to have insurance, and you're making too much to get Obamacare, but so you've got to shell out $600. But then you give it to the insurance company and it doesn't do anything. Well, your copay, and then your copay is 99%, and you're going to have to pay for everything for the first 50,000, 10,000 or whatever. So they're just taking your money. It's not going to anything other than you're just helping an insurance company get rich. It's not going to doctors. It's not going to. Why not take that $600 a month, put it in a money market account, and pay cash and just keep putting 10% in? That's what I would recommend. If you're young, if you're healthy and sick, and that's a whole other but if you're young and healthy, yeah, time for us to rebel from the status quo, because it's making us all bankrupted. 1 million Americans live in their cars, and the number one reason is bankruptcy due to health care, because they couldn't pay their insurance. They couldn't pay their medical costs, and they were having insurance, but it didn't get them anywhere. The insurance ate up all their money, and now there's no money left, and there's no insurance left. And they're still sick, but they're living in their car. Other countries that have free healthcare don't have this type of housing. They don't have this type of homelessness. Yes, and a basic income. Everyone deserves a place to live. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and we'll do the impasse prayer. We need a public health program. I mean, if it was put out by the government and 100% went to the government workers, and it was included in your taxes, you've already paid for it through your taxes, that would be very cost effective. The most cost effective way would be to do it through the government, but instead they privatized everything. And so it's just all going to private companies to maintain the private insurance companies. It has nothing to do with helping you do anything. It's certainly not there for your health. They're there. The purpose of an insurance company is to take as much of your money as possible without giving you anything. That's the purpose of an insurance company. It's not there to get you healthy. All right, let's do the impasse prayer. And we're going to go ahead and give you a community reading. Would you like that? And thank you, everyone. If you're having a good time and you're enjoying our brunch, and be sure and tell us where you're coming from, by the way, if you haven't already, and what you're eating. We always like to hear that. Yeah, but if you like the brunch and you're having a good time, think about donating to the World Central Kitchen, because they're a great organization. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. All right, let's do it. All right, where you are at right now. They're saying that now is a time to be careful about any major decisions you could be making, particularly decisions regarding commitments to anyone. It's not a good time for you to be making commitments. You need more information before you can commit to a new job, a new life, a new relationship. Just hold off a little bit. I feel like when I go into this energy, like your life needs to be as simple as possible right now, so that you don't feel too overwhelmed. You want to focus maybe a little bit on slow living right now, because where you're at right now is the Four of Cups, and that is to reject offers. So this is someone who could be pulling back a little bit energetically. Maybe now's a little time to pull back a little bit on your energy, preserve it, and take care of any loose odds and ends or anything that's kind of making you feel a little stressed out. It could be also taxes for many of you, because this is a card that also can denote red tape. And it's like literally red dress, red tape. She's trapped in red tape. That was me doing my turbo taxes. And I never do it 100% right. And I always think I've done it wrong. And usually the IRS catches something, and if they catch it, they just tell you you owe $100 or you get 100 back. So you do your best. Don't stress yourself out. But Eight of Swords is coming in. And that can be a person being completely stressed out about possibly things going on legally or red tape, etc. And then you have that Four of Cups. So I would say if you're just feeling overwhelmed by life in general, insurance, taxes, etc., just try and conquer it one thing at a time. And don't try and take on too much right now. Where you're at right now is Three of Swords, nursing heartbreak. Many of you are nursing heartbreak regarding what? Too much fighting and stress from others. They say it's very important for you at this time in your life to avoid anger, fighting, arguments, and conflict. It's really having a detrimental effect on your heart, your blood pressure, your mental state, etc. Too much fighting, heartbreak. So you're heartbroken by perhaps too much fighting around you right now or amongst family members, red tape, not wanting to make any decisions, could be fighting with family members, or there could be tension around you with others that's requiring you at this time to just pull back and take care of yourself. Also, when you fight with other people, it can cause you to lose your sense of self and to lose perspective. Sometimes we can get wrapped in our own crazy, and then the other person hears our side of it and thinks we're completely out to lunch. And then other times we're completely in touch with reality and we just have to keep hammering it home. This happens a lot with women, right? In our relationships, we will get, I just know for myself, when I feel like I'm right, I won't let it go. But we have a Seven of Cups that we're sitting in right now, folks. And so that can be some confusion about not knowing necessarily how to deal with certain people or situations and problems. And again, when that happens, it's okay to just take a break and say, you know what, I need to just not talk to anybody right now and just focus on myself. It looks like everyone's going to be okay with financial concerns that are coming up in your future regarding your right to hold on to money or your right to hold on and preserve your own money. It looks like these questions will be resolved. It's okay to be selfish. Nine of Pentacles I read as a financial security card, but it's also a card of selfishness. The person's holding on to what belongs to them. And so if you are having some conflict with others and you have found that you come last, or you, that Four of Cups, you feel like others are pressuring to do things that you don't want to do, now is the time for you to pull back and let yourself be a little selfish. Be careful again about daily habits, smoking, edibles. What's something that I drink too much coffee. Well, that's never going to change. Actually, I've gotten really good. I'm only doing, well, I do about 2-3 cups now, but sugar, like I switched to monk fruit finally. Monk fruit and maple syrup sometimes. But you have the devil card here, so that can be temptations. Sugar, red meat, smoking, alcohol addiction, pornography, sex addiction. So things that are being chained possibly to situations of conflict with others. Issues that maybe still need to be resolved between you and other members of family, etc. You can't win every battle. As long as your truth has been told, it's okay at this time to pull back and just not engage. Instead, they're saying if you are having challenges with self-care, issues with temptation, that needs to be your focus right now. Focus on self-care, focus on healing your life. And for many of you, a large sum of money will be coming to you in the coming months. I see a large sum of money coming, possibly the sale of something, an inheritance, or something like that. You have Ace of Cups over a challenge of addiction, codependency. Maybe you're hooked on somebody who hasn't treated you right. But look, the final outcome for this group is an Ace of Pentacles, which leads me to think that many of you are going to be okay financially, and some of you are going to be doing very well financially. Unresolved issues with past loves, family, etc. Six of Cups. It'll be resolved, but right now you need to pull back and take care of you. Very interesting cards this week. Money is coming for many of you. Boy, I hope I'm included in that reading. Ace of Pentacles, but I'm not selling anything, so those are good money cards. Very good money cards. Nine of Pentacles coming into the 6th house near future would indicate selfishness and financial stability, but in a good way. It's the person who's empowered. They have a good retirement. Yeah. Oh, tax returns. That's right. Thank you, Rebecca. Your tax returns. They told me I owed all this money, and I thought, damn, that's going to clean out a lot of my savings. So I put it on a credit card, and I think, well, I'll pay it off next month. So I give TurboTax something like $4,200 because they said you underpaid for the year. So I give them $4,200. Then I go back and I check my Turbo, and they said your return is $3,600. So I underpaid $400. I don't understand. Because I thought, God, I can't imagine that I underpaid $4,000, but that's what they said. So I wrote 2 checks, $3,200 for the feds and something like $1,200 for the state. And then they said, you're getting $3,600 back. It's like, do you guys know what you're doing? Isn't that weird? So that's probably what my Ace of Pentacles was about. Where do you think the money's going? It's going to pay my April taxes, my quarterly. It's just a game. We're giving it back, and then I'm giving it back to you, and we just maybe I'm ahead a quarter. Is that possible? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm ahead 3,600 because if I underreported or anything, a couple thousand, then that's good. Then they've got their money, right? Because sometimes I forget to put something or I don't put something, and then they say you owe 1,000 or whatever. So, well, whenever we're ready to give the order, we can blitz, blitz, blitz away. And we can get to everybody's questions once we blitz, blitz, blitz away. Okay, it looks like we've got the order. Let's start with Maja. Maja has a question about QAnon. So, first off, as a remote viewer, it feels to me like this is being taken really seriously by the feds, that this was a very long investigation. It goes back to Robert Mueller was part of that investigation where it had to do with people in positions of power being compromised by foreign governments. So one of the main people that was behind QAnon was Gao Wei. He was one of the main contributors. He was also a fraudster who was conning people out of large amounts of money. He wanted, this guy literally, he wanted to be the new emperor of China. So all those anti-China videos, etc., that was all produced by Gao Wei, who was a business associate of Bannon. When they took him down, I felt like that was the end of QAnon because he was one of the main crazy Looney Tunes. He's also, I think, wanted in, I believe it's mainland China or Hong Kong. I think he may be wanted for rape allegations. Somebody is accusing him of rape. He's the guy who also had a hotel in some tower, some hotel in New York, and he blew up his he blew up the room with the safe and all of the incriminating evidence. So I think that they took QAnon down in pieces. I think it was also partly a money-making scheme, QAnon, fake politics. But let's take a look at the future of QAnon. But it seems to me like they're phasing it out because they're no longer funding it. And thank you, everyone who's donated to the World Central Kitchen. We've raised a couple $100 already. Thank you very much. $100. I think my goal was 1,000 for today. We'll see how it goes. Or $1,000 for this video. I just sent a message to Taka's Shelter asking, would you please go on YouTube with your charity? Because I'd love to raise money for the Taka's Shelter in Greece. I wonder if they can create like an American charity that works with them. Because I really like that channel. There's a judge over this situation, Amaja. It feels to me like a lot of this QAnon stuff is happening with January 6th, and that many of them have lawyers. They were pawns. They were they were manipulated by the powers that be. But you can see judgment is coming against them, the judge's card. They, in relation, the opposition, to walk away from a battle they cannot win. 5 of Swords is to drop the sword. The hope and the fear, the investigation, mastery, chipping away at the mastery. A new beginning starts in spring. Yeah, QAnon probably is going belly up this spring. I mean, the main people. Yeah, the judge is in a position of power. So the U.S. is in a position of power, and they are treating it like a terrorist cult. The money is being traced back to foreign money. There were a team of investigators that followed the money. It was also connected with organized crime, Asian organized crime. It was a cooperation. Wonder if he was working with organized crime out of Hong Kong. Yeah, within 1 month, we're going to see multiple prosecutions, Maja. You can see here the page of Wands, which is the time of the spring. It goes until June 21st when we enter into summer. And then you can see the 1 month card, the Ace of Wands, which would indicate going into May. So this spring, you're going to be seeing a lot of arrest, I would predict, with these cards. And I'm very specific with the wands. I do read dates with wands. And a 1 month would be a 1 month period or 30 days. Also, the fact that Page of Rods is a spring card traditionally, I would say this spring we're going to be seeing a lot of legal action taken against these people. I also wanted to say regarding remote views, and I want to go on record saying that as well, that the Tea Party, the people funding the Tea Party, the people funding the Tea Party are associated with Ginny Thomas. And so if you remember the remote view I did on Ginny Thomas, she was meeting with a private group of people, and they were talking about things that they were planning to do so that they could take back this country. Those people are the Tea Party, and those are the people that got the money to fund the Tea Party. So the domestic unrest we're talking about gets linked back to Ginny Thomas and these secret societies that have an influence on the Supreme Court. And so in that, and the fact that they now have her husband under a microscope being investigated for possible federal crimes for bribery, basically, that's also part of this. Because if you go back and you remember who one of the main people was on the stage during the whole Tea Party movement, it was Ginny Thomas. And this is simply another version of that. Yeah. All right, here's a question coming from Water Lily. She wants to know about the Fox News being held accountable. It goes back to the remotes when not just me, other remote viewers would go and we would scan the grid over Fox News and we try and get into documents. Every time we would go in, we would see the feds around Fox News. There were tons of feds all over Fox News. And I think one of the things that they were doing was they were investigating business alliances, etc. And where they were getting their propaganda, etc. Let's take a look. I don't think it's going to go well for Murdoch because he's part of the operations, and so the buck stops with him. So he's in a lot of trouble. Fox News. This is a good, don't you guys think today's a good brunch? We're having a good brunch today. I feel like the questions are good. Energy is good. People's food looks good. Okay, the future of Fox News. They're in this is going to wipe them out financially. They're in very serious trouble financially. They also have investors that have different plans for them. Look at this, Four of Pentacles. That's the frugality card. Their opposition has a strong inheritance, Ten of Pentacles. Their hopes and fears, how they make their money. So it's attacking the very heart of how they make their money. Their final outcome, selfish. They're going to try and not have to pay. They're going to try to arrange a way to get out of paying all this money. That's what it looks like. They are getting linked back to something international. Theft. This is part of an ongoing investigation. It goes back, I think, the Mercers, the domestic terrorism, etc. There's also some world link. You can see here a world link, something to do with theft or criminal acts, fighting. There's a civil war taking place. I think there's a civil war taking place in Fox. I think that they're going to lose. And I don't know how this is going to survive after him, but he could break it down and sell it off with those types of cards. He has such a powerful fake news. I mean, like the Daily Mail. But he's in some trouble. They could take him down financially with those cards. Okay, so hi George Stewart. So as many of you know, the right-wing lunatics, they have declared war on everyone. They've declared war on the Jews, Black people, the LGBTQ community, Asians, immigrants. There's nobody left. Women. Who haven't they attacked? George Stewart, who wants to know about LGBTQ rights, and Pride is coming up, in like a couple months. So unfortunately, violent acts against the LGBT community go up during Pride. So I hope y'all are protecting yourselves. Nobody go off with anybody. I gave this, how many times have I given you all this lecture? I feel like I'm everybody's Jewish mother. During Pride, you're not to go off by yourself. Go with a large group. Everybody know. Don't take unnecessary risk. We want everyone safe. All right. LGBTQ rights in the Deep South and Florida. Well, if all of us liberal progressives keep moving south because we can't afford the rent in the north, I mean, the immigration patterns being what they are, look at Georgia. Do you really think there is going to be a north and a south in a few years? I don't know. The next generation is not going to let this progress. It's kind of interesting that a religion of homophobia is seen in the cards as demonic, as evil, as a cult that takes you to the dark side. It's so interesting. So they say truth will prevail. The high priestess is a card that denotes inner wisdom. She's wise. She can cut through the darkness. She sees the truth of things. Also, there's a victory card here, the Six of Wands. So I would say that it gets phased out because religion is dying in the United States. The old religions that taught people how to hate. You also have an Ace of Cups moving in, which is one of love. This is the old ways, the devil. Any religion that teaches you to hate another group, I don't think that's of God myself. Oh, world pressure, international changes, wisdom, science. The science catches up. The science catches up to them. Too much heartbreak, they say. Also, people going to jail. There's a lot of heartbreak in the LGBTQ community. There's something here also about violent acts in the past. Page of Pentacles would indicate communication by ground. It's also associated with Archangel Gabriel, who is the artist, the writer, the thinker. I think that people, they get phased out by the general population. That seems to be what they're saying, that the arts move in, the sciences move in, people evolve past it. It's interesting that this is in the realm of Archangel Gabriel, because Archangel Gabriel, she is the one that inspires writers. And so the artists, the thinkers are inspired. They often will work with Gabriel. And so it's kind of interesting that is the archangel that comes to aid the sciences, literature, truth. I mean, think about the gray world that's being produced by these domestic terrorists. They want to get rid of literature, the arts, drag. I mean, Shakespeare was into drag. Are they going to get rid of Shakespeare? So it falls away. Yeah, writers. This Archangel Gabriel is often connected with writers. Really interesting questions today. I'm really having a good time, you guys. And again, thank you for donating to the World Central Kitchen. Ooh, Diana Henson is having, look at this meal. Diana, are you having like a dim sum? She's having egg roll, shrimp, tilapia, and water. Oh, leftovers. Oh, that's not. Who here likes dim sum? I love dim sum. It's so much fun. So much fun, dim sum. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Okay. Let's look at E. Jean Carroll. I think he's going to get convicted. Let's take a look. He's not doing too well with the E. Jean. Can you imagine how strong he would have to be to fight this long? I mean, what victims of this type of crime have to go through to get justice? It's unbelievable. The future of the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit. Same thing. The truth comes out. It could be settled by August. He attempts to flee prosecution. Truth comes out. The date, the 8th month, 8 of Wands. We know we read Wands. It's by August. The truth comes out. I'm going to go ahead and predict by August. Digging up evidence. He attempts to flee conviction. 7 of Swords. How's he going to flee conviction? What's he going to do? Claim mental illness, senility, or something? So by August? Oh my goodness. Yeah, the case is finished by August. When did they say it was going to be finished? Yeah, the truth comes out. Look at that. Archangel Michael is over the case by August. Dang. Oof. Owie, owie, owie. I don't think he can win this case. Queen of Wands is over him. She seeks justice absolute. He attempts to flee. It would be unwise. The judgment falls against him. Dang. I don't know how y'all feel about that one. Yeah, it looks like the whole thing will be done by August. He's going to try somehow to get out of it. And he will not be able to get out of it because the judgment fell directly over the attempted thief. And when you think about it, rape is a type of theft because you're trying to take something, a sexual experience or intimacy with somebody that doesn't want to be with you. So the person feels that they've experienced a kind of theft. And so it's interesting that he is seen as a thief who attempts to steal something, right? Steal intimacy, right? Steal possession of someone's body for their own agenda. And then he attempts to flee, and then the judgment comes against him. So, all right, the future finances of the U.S. Hi, Equus 3333. Yeah, I got it right. 4 3s. Equus has seen the blood, the sweat, and the tears. Ooh, heartbreak right now. People are selfish and greedy. Yes, we're going to be okay because we're going to learn new ways to use our resources. It's the green economy. I'll show you. It's the green economy. It always comes up the same. How many times have we thrown on it? Always the same. Look, right now, Americans heartbroken. The other we're having an issue with are greedy, the greeter's card. 9 of Pentacles, the greedy person's card. The hopes and fears that America will come together. 2 of Cups. Look, final outcome, the card I use for the green economy. Harvesting wealth from the green, growing wealth. So it's the new green economy. It's always the same. Throw ourselves in the science of saving Gaia, and there'll be plenty for everybody. And stop looking at life from a place of scarcity. Yeah. The issues of poverty, regarding issues of greed, the solution, we have to come together. Love, solution, lover, reaching across the aisle, and the green economy. That's the answer. So we will be fine so long as we throw ourselves into aligning with good environmental science, basically. And give your life to Gaia and she will take care of all your needs. That's basically the teaching. And you don't have to be a religious person. You can view it simply from a perspective of just good environmental science. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, issues for sports trans men. Let's take a look. Why can't they have an Olympics where it's for trans if they're worried about an advantage that a cis female cannot beat a trans female because they're at a physical advantage? And so then couldn't they just have a trans race? I mean, I don't know. Why not just include trans as another if it's an issue of physical inequality? They say it gets worked out. It could be that we have to expand the competition. Why doesn't Why not? Why not have an Olympic? Why not have a transgender selection? Because most transgender people understand that it's physically different and that it's going to be, I don't see a problem. Why not? Expand it. High priestess moves in, logic and reason and truth comes out, power over the situation is resolved, a celebration of all women. Three of Cups is the female power card, and Chariot, the race is run. Yes, they will be able to run races. I just think we should just open it up to LGBTQ, and if there is a discrepancy, and if it's based on science that there's a discrepancy, just create a new category so that everybody gets to race. Problem solved. But Chariot would indicate a race or a run, so yes, they will be able to run. We create problems that don't exist, and I have no idea why. I guess there are just people in this world that want everybody to be unhappy. We've dealt with this before. There have been competitions where they used to not have age requirements, right? But then they understood that at certain ages, you're better at certain things. And so now they have age categories. It's not a big deal. Intelligent people can work these things out. People want somebody to hate. So now they've decided to target LGBTQ. It's always got to be somebody vulnerable. I'm going to get off my soapbox. All right. So let's take a look at number 45's health. I'm having fun. Yeah, much fun. I love my life. And I love spending it with you. Best part of my week is Sunday. I mean that. I think all week long about this Sunday, because for me, it really is a brunch with friends. And I think about what our charity is going to be, what we're going to talk about. It's a lot of fun. All right. 45's health. He's got some trips coming, possibly international. He's aware that he has limited travel because he's facing multiple cases. So he's being told by the judge if he does leave the United States, he has to be back in time for certain trials, but he's got some trips coming up. You can see here, 45 has some trips. He's got the world around him, and you can see the judge or the legal authorities, hopes and fears. He is worried about his health, and a decision has to be made. By the time this guy has to face the music, do you think that he's even going to be in any case? See, that's why I always think the solution for him is going to be there's so many reasons why it will result in house arrest. Because he's too old, he's too high profile. A judgment, the biggest threat to his health as this time is being physically and mentally devastated. He feels a sense of betrayal. That is what I get from Donald Trump. He feels that he went down because so many people who he helped have betrayed. He feels stabbed in the back. So the judgment is against him, and he is stabbed in the back. He is laid low by his enemies. That is the biggest threat to his health. So if he's having mini strokes, that doesn't surprise me because he has had some issues coming up, but he definitely feels betrayed, and the judgments will not go well with him. Hi, Mary Hobbs. Thank you for being a new member. Welcome to Healers and Empaths, and I hope you enjoy hanging out with us. I hope you'll have a good time. All right, so let's take a look at Ukraine, which is a very bizarre situation because it looked like Putin wanted to booby trap everything. You know, he was going to have to pull out because he didn't have the wherewithal financially to keep the war going. So he's just going to stick nuclear weapons in Belarus, etc., and threaten the Westerners to stay out. If you don't stay out, I'm going to do what exactly? So I did a remote 2 days ago, and I was trying to move forward as the Wagner group and I wound up in 4 feet of mud. I couldn't move the vehicle. It's terrible. And also people had dug trenches and now the trenches are filling with mud. So when we tried to get out with and move the mobilization of our vehicles in Bakhmut, we wound up just falling into muddy ravines and stuff. So I'm assuming now, based on the last remote I did of the war, that Bakhmut is becoming just a massive mud puddle of couple feet worth of mud and machines getting stuck in the mud. It's really rainy and muddy from what it looks like. This is not the best time for them to be there. Let's take a look. I always see Russia losing and withdrawing, always. Dropping the sword and leaving, walking away from a battle they cannot win. 5 of Swords. Ukraine building up their defenses. 7 of Wands. Defending their land. The hope and the fear, the partnerships. Final outcome, a star is over Ukraine. So it always comes out that they leave. The international community is on them. They want to be tried. Look at that. Justice, the courts over Russia, and they withdraw. Look at that. They're trapped in mud. It'll be interesting to see the film footage coming out in the next 3 days. You should all be seeing some film footage. Many died. Look at that. Their money. It was a money issue. They financially couldn't keep it going. The star is over Ukraine. I think Zelensky is going to win, and I think he's going to take all of Ukraine. Zelensky. All right, everybody. Well, that was a fun hour. Feel free to donate any hats because I've gotten into them. If you are cleaning out your house and you want to get rid of your old hats, give them to me, folks. I'm telling you, I am becoming a hat queen. Did y'all have fun with brunch today? Yeah? Oh, we have a new member. We have 2 new members. Be sure and say hi to them, everybody. Cherish Cornell has become an elder and an empath, so another witch. See, what I'm doing here, Mary Hops, we got 2 new witches. Somebody said that to me when they were watching. I did a mystery school the other day where we were talking about the energetic power of Hawthorne and then gave a reading. And I was thinking, is mystery school on this channel going to be like Hogwarts? Is it like witch training? And I thought, sure, why not? So yeah, I'm glad you joined. Have a little witch training. We get together also Saturdays if you're a member, and we do private readings for people. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I would love to give you a reading. I do phone readings. I will call you. You can get that information below this video. I also do 5-minute taped readings for people. If you haven't received your tape yet and you sent it, I have sent all the taped readings out. Sometimes they record the email wrong or something like that. Just send me an email to whimsyanderson@gmail.com if you did not receive your 5-minute Wizio. I think that costs $30 and it's a private 5-minute reading. So those are pretty cool too. All right. Be kind to yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Oh, last, if you need to see me as a physician, I am a naturopathic doctor and I do general wellness coaching through Zoom. If you want to do a reboot and get your health back on your feet using natural medicine, I also make herbal medicines. Got to promote that. Got to promote myself. I don't do that enough. I should promote myself more. All right, love and light. Please support the other readers while you're out there. Have a blessed day, and I will see you all next time. Hi, Boa. Good to see you. Hi, False Teeth Tarot. Thank you, Desiree Robato, Debbie Brady, False Tarot, Joyce Pietris, for all of your help. Geocosmic Valentine, thank you so much as well. Joel is here somewhere. Thank you as well. Okay, I'm out. Be well, everyone. Bye. Thank you.